Today I'm going to show you how to paint a shiny surface. This is Michelle's third artwork, and we are trying to learn how to paint the stairways that's in the sky. It is reflective, therefore the surface is shiny, and it will also have the reflection of the clouds and the sky along with the black color that Michelle wants to paint. Your station needs to have water, sponge that is wet. Don't do a dry sponge or it will break. It needs to be wet. And brushes that should be the size of what you are painting. If you are painting something with a lot of detail, it should be small. If what you're painting has straight lines instead of round-tipped brush, it's easier if you have a brush that has a hard edge, a rectangular edge. We are going to be using black, white, and a little bit of blue for those reflection of the clouds. So I have here an example of the stairway to practice and teach you how to paint. As you know, first you want to create the midtones, the shadows, and the highlights on your palette. It's going to be black in most of the cases, but if you put just pure black along with the blue sky, it's going to look unnatural. So what you want to do is you want to create a black that is closer to gray, and make sure when you mix the colors, you mix it thoroughly. Color is relative. So even if by itself it looks gray, if you put this onto this drawing, it would look black because the majority of the painting is blue. So if you look closely, this is gray. I have some midtones over here. I might just add a touch of blue to this mid-gray. You can barely see it, but even a hint will bring it closer to the relationship of the sky. So you want to bring the surrounding colors into the black because it is a reflective surface. The stairway is reflective surface. Michelle wants to create a stairway that is shiny and almost metallic, like glass. So it will also absorb and reflect the blue color of the sky. So we have some midtones. For the shadow, I think I'm going to add a bit of black on the side. I might need these. Make sure it's thoroughly mixed. And the highlights, make sure your brush is clean. Oh, so you see those paints still on the top of the paintbrush? You wipe it on your sponge and make sure it's clean. I'm going to take a little bit of that white and mix the blue for the highlights. Okay, so I have the highlights, midtones, and shadows. There is no right or wrong proportion of the midtones, highlights, and shadows because the color is relative. So you have to figure out what your right proportion of midtone, shadows, and highlight is as you start painting. For me, I might like this, but for Michelle or any other artist, they might want the stairways to look a little darker. If that's the case, add more black. They might want it to look lighter, so they might add more white. Some people might want it a little bit more blue to reflect the sky much more. Then you would add the blue. Okay, so what you do with your painting, the first step is you get some midtones and you start painting the midtones first. Now, if you look at the reference picture, Michelle wants to create this texture of glassy stairway that's black, but because it is a texture of glass, it reflects the blue and the white of the sky. So let's try to recreate that. The first step is the sides are black, but the top part is reflective. There's some blue and there's some white because it's closer to the light. So with that knowledge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the midtones first to the side. Utilize the square edges to have a straight line. So use the straight edge of the brush and align it with the straight line of your pencil mark so that it can follow, the paint can follow the line for a straight surface. I'm going to leave the top part because that's brighter in value. So let me just paint the sides. Now you want to work quickly because if the paint is dry, acrylic paint is dry, it's easy to blend your highlights and shadows. But if it's dried out, you cannot blend other paint on it. So I'm going to paint the sides first. You see, if you put second layer, it gets darker. And the beauty of color is that on the camera, it looks black, but if you look really close and in relative relationship to the blue, if you really look close, it's actually gray and bluish. And that is what you want because you want to give it much more room to add black and darker values for the shadow. So I am painting the side. I'm going to paint the top of the stairway with this color. But when I look at the reference picture, it has a little bit more blue. So I might add just a little bit more blue to my highlights. That might have been too much. Okay, that's actually too much. So let me grab some of that, some of the white. I want to match this color to the midtones that I created, but not too far away from the gray that I had. Just a tad bit more blue. Okay, if you compare to the midtones, it is a slightly lighter, but let's see if okay, I want it a little bit lighter, so let me go back. And I want to blend it thoroughly. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Oh. So look at how I'm going over the line because the brush is too big. I'm going to switch it to a smaller brush. That's when you start switching the size of the brush to make sure that you have control and finesse and clean lines of what you're painting. Okay. Let me quickly do the top. Slow down and follow the line. Strangely enough, it's already looking three-dimensional because we have the highlights and the midtones. Okay. Now we have created the base of the stairway. We have the side, which is darker, and the top, which is lighter because the sun is reflecting the top surface of the stairway. Now what we're going to do is we are going to add the highlights. We have the shadows, the midtones, and now we're going to add some highlights. So if you look at the reference picture, you can see that at the corner, wait, where's my hand? Okay, here it is. Oh, you can see that at the corner here, edge of the stairway at the top, it has that white highlight. So I'm going to create that white highlight. This time, because the edge is super thin, I'm going to take the smallest brush I have and I will use white and a little bit of blue, and a little bit of blue. So there was a white highlight at the top of the stairway, like this, a little bit down. Oh. If your paint is not smooth, painting smooth, just add a little bit of water. Now I'm spreading that white just a little bit to create a bridge between the midtones and the highlights. Okay. There you go. I might even say, you know what? I want even more prominent or obvious highlight. Then with just white, I'm going to add tiny bits of highlight. So this is like maximum highlight that I want to add. Let me do that once more on the second. There's too much water. You see, if you paint on the surface like this, it doesn't create a thin brush stroke. So when you are painting something very detailed, make sure you paint at the tip and you hold the brush 90-degree angle. It will give you much more precision to your brush strokes. There you go. Okay. And let me go in with absolute 100% white and give another highlight to my highlight. That's how you build form and shape. Like that. So last but not least, I'll do the top stairway one more time. Oh, that's too much water. And then adding 100% white highlight on top of my highlights.